What's up? Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Welcome. Happy holidays.
Hey.
Perk and
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas. Merry Christmas. Perk and I know you guys probably were doling out a ton of gifts this morning. Perk, I'll start with you. How was your Christmas?
It was great. I mean, I woke up, I did Sports Center, I did the get up, I did first take, and now I'm doing hoop strings. I got my kids open their presents. They got the PS5 and a whole lot of toys. It was awesome. And I got a few gifts, but it's all good as long as the kids was happy.
Absolutely. And we're counting down to the start of the Mavs versus the Lakers. Both teams dropped their season openers. Now, Perk, were you encouraged or discouraged by those results?
I was encouraged. Look, as far as the Lakers, the only thing they were worried about was getting their rings. I'm not worried about the Lakers at all. I feel like they're the best team in the Western Conference. The Mavs, on the other hand, I feel like, they're finding their groove. Guys are getting implemented into Rick Carlisle's system. Guys like, Josh Richardson, Brunson, who's just coming back, who's been off. And, Luka is working his way back up. I feel like he could get in better shape because they're going to rely on him a lot. Powell coming off an injury. So the Mavs will be just fine. I think the Lakers will be fine also. Both of those teams are going to do well in the Western Conference.
All right, well, one of the things the Lakers want to do is win another championship. They did a lot of things in the offseason to try to make that happen again this season. I mean, I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think about the Lakers' offseason moves?
I thought they had the best offseason of any team in the league. No disrespect to, the things that Milwaukee did and some of the other teams, but when you talk about a championship team getting better in the offseason, that almost never happens. Perk, you know how it is. You're just trying to keep everything together, keep the band back together. The Lakers went out there and they upgraded their supporting cast, and it starts with Marc Gasol. I think he's going to open up a lot of things for them on both ends of the floor, offensively as a passer and as a low-post threat, something that they haven't had. And then defensively as another backline of defense so that AD doesn't have to be a 5 for them. And then you talk about Wes Matthews and Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. The Lakers all season, I mean, again, it is so rare for a championship team to add 4 bona fide upgrades in their supporting cast.
Now, we're only one game into the season, and Luka is already the current favorite for MVP. Now, Perk, what are you expecting from Luka for year 3?
Well, I expect him to go out there and average 30, get his 9 assists and his 9 rebounds, but Luka has to up his three-point percentage. I think he has to get in better shape. He has the whack body. And if you don't know what the whack body is, that's a guy like myself who try to work his tail off to get a six-pack but could never get over the hump, right? Luka would never probably get chiseled up, but he still could work on his body because he's gonna have to carry this team, especially while that is to be in the best shape possible. So I'm looking at Luka. I expect great things from him. I don't have him picked as my MVP. I have Anthony Davis as that, but he's going to do great and still carry the Mavs.
Well, one thing that would certainly help Luka is if the Mavs played really well, especially in the Western Conference. Obviously, KP is out right now, but I mean, I'll ask you this question. What else do the Mavs need in order to compete?
Well, I think they've got a couple of guys who are coming back after long layoffs. You got Dwight Powell, who Perk mentioned. He was such a big part of their offense last year before he got hurt. He's coming back now, but obviously he's rusty. And then Willie Cauley-Stein, who sat out of the bubble, I believe, for personal reasons. He's another guy who gives them a vertical spacer. These guys just need to get reps under their belt because you think about it, for Willie Cauley-Stein, he hasn't played since March. For Powell, it's been even longer than that since he got hurt. And then obviously Josh Richardson was a big offseason acquisition for them. He's not quite the shooter that Seth Curry was, but he could put the ball on the floor a little bit more. And then he's obviously a huge upgrade on the defensive end. So just trying to get these guys back in the swing of things and fitting in, I think is going to be huge as a gap until Porzingis comes back next month or so.
Speaking of things getting back in the swing of things, we got a We are now joined by NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski. Jeez Louise, I knew I was going to, I haven't said your name fully yet, so that's the first time. I feel like this is a good thing to do on Christmas Day. But welcome in, Woj. Thanks for joining us. And we might as well start this thing off just at the thick of the drama with Harden and the Rockets. So as it pertains to their game tomorrow against the Blazers, where do the Rockets stand with Harden?
Well, James Harden is actually scheduled to play in that game. The Rockets are flying to Portland tonight. They'll do so with perhaps only really 8 players they can play in the game against the Blazers tomorrow. They do have an injured player who's on the roster, but Chris Clemens, who can't play. But a combination of contact tracing, positive coronavirus tests in Houston, is limiting their roster. Obviously, they couldn't play against Oklahoma City the other night, but Harden is expected to make his season debut along with the Rockets' debut against the Blazers, and then they play again Monday night in Denver.
Now, Woj, James Harden keeps adding more and more teams to where he would like to be traded, but they still have him for 2 seasons. How long do you think this standoff could continue?
I think it has a chance to continue into the foreseeable future. The Rockets know that to make a James Harden trade, they've got to get maximum value back in the trade market. They don't need to rush this process. I mean, obviously, they do have him under contract for 2 more years. They don't want this cloud to hang over them. It is a difficult situation in Houston right now for them to function. But I think as an organization, they know that they can't do a bad deal. And right now, the deals that they see out there in the marketplace feel like they're not good enough. And I think they hope that those offers will improve. Listen, as teams get into the season and teams maybe they've overestimated the group they had, maybe they start to feel a little pressure to really dramatically improve their team. Offers improve in that way. But of course, there's other teams like let's say a Brooklyn who gets off to a great start, who likes the chemistry, likes the group they have, and maybe they become maybe a little more hesitant to get seriously or remain seriously in talks. But I think the Rockets know that they still have time on their side, but it's not a healthy environment right now in Houston, and they know the sooner they make a trade, the better. They just know they have to make the right one.
And we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Now, Adam Silver mentioned earlier this week there's possibility of the NBA expanding. Do you have any thoughts or what that would look like for the NBA's future?
Well, I think it's still not necessarily in the foreseeable future. I think it's still years away. And listen, for owners and for the league, there's a big financial benefit for a team to pay to come into the league. That could be as much as $4 or $5 billion, and that's shared among that entrance fee is shared among the other owners, and especially with the revenue that's been lost during the pandemic and playing a season now without fans for the most part around the league. That economic value certainly is impactful. And Seattle is a market that looms out there as a very formidable NBA city. It's got great tradition, history, and now has an arena situation in place that would allow them to play. And so certainly, I think you'll hear more talk and more enthusiasm from certainly the Seattle side and from Seattle about trying to get back in this league. But I still think, as Adam Silver said, and in talking to some owners around the league, this is not I don't think this is an imminent or a near-term addition to the league.
Okay, so since we're on the subject of possible changes, this year we got the NBA on December 22nd. Great, we got the NBA back. They've been talking about starting the NBA season on the 25th, on Christmas Day. How likely is that to happen moving forward?
I don't think it's likely. I think the league very much wants to get back on their traditional schedule. I think pushing the end of the season into summer. I think they saw last year now that it got pushed all the way into the fall and up against football, which is not ideal. And I think, but for the NBA, their goal in starting the season right before Christmas, ending it before the Olympics in July, the hope is that they get back onto their traditional regular season schedule, regular season playoff schedule for 2021-22.
So, Woj, unsure what your best Christmas gift was today, but I would say ours is having you on Hoop Streams today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Let's get into some Christmas Day highlights, starting with Zion Williamson's Christmas Day debut and Duncan Robinson and the Heat trying to destroy that. Speaking of Duncan, here's a three-pointer. He would make 6 of those in the first half, finished the game with 7, tying the Christmas Day record. Oh, but of course Zion is going to do his best to keep it close. Williamson, he had 32 points, 14 rebounds, but guess what? It wasn't enough. Just when the Pels made it a 10-point game, Robinson got another three-pointer to extend the lead. Heat hold on 111-98. Next up, we got Golden State at Milwaukee. The Greek Freak and Steph Curry returning to action. Chris Middleton knocks down a mid-range jumper. Middleton would finish with 6 for 8 from the three-point with 31 points. Here, Giannis back in action. He would finish with only 15 points. Steph Curry, if you're wondering how he is after that injury, oh, he's back. Curry would finish with 19 points, 6 assists. The Bucks, though, would go on to win 115-82.
Hey Christine, Merry Christmas guys, Happy Holidays to all my Hoop Streams fam. As you can see, I am currently driving from my game in Milwaukee, trying to catch the very last flight to the New York area in Chicago at O'Hare. So I am booking it down 94, so fingers crossed I can make it home to my family on Christmas Day. But wrapped up that game. It really was just a blowout loss by the Warriors. Bright spot James Wiseman looks like the real deal. He may be the second best player on the team, which could be seen as a good thing if you weren't watching Kelly Oubre or Andrew Wiggins. As far as the Bucks, we've seen this before, guys. They are a great regular season team. It's about getting over the hump in the playoffs. And I sat down with Giannis this week, and he talked about needing it to hurt in order to win. Take a listen.
Like, it's gonna hurt. It's not gonna be easy. You know, and MJ went through that, LeBron went through that. Like, a lot of great players went through that. Like, you cannot expect that you're just going to walk through the park and just win a championship. They're going to give you the championship. If we win the championship this year and next year the different team want to win the championship, we're not just going to give it to them. Like, they're going to have to come and get it. They're going to have to come and fight for it. You know, that's what I mean. It's going to hurt. It's not going to be easy. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get eliminated. You're going to get humiliated. You're going to get all those things part of being great.
Shout out Cass making it happen from the car ride home. You love to see it. What else do we love to see? Jalen Rose looking dapper and joining us on Hoop Streams today. You look good. Love the suit.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. We just heard Giannis. He wants a championship in Milwaukee. How close is he to making that happen?
I think he's a lot closer than people actually realize. His team has had the best record in the regular season the last 2 years. He's the reigning back-to-back league MVP. They added Drew Holiday at the point, and I think just having a couple of years of cohesion with his teammates and Middleton continues to improve, I think they're right there knocking on the door. The problem for them, however, they're in the Eastern Conference, and there are another 4 teams that also feel like if they don't make it to the NBA Finals, that it's going to be a lost season. So it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamics at the top of the East play out, but definitely the Bucks are a championship contender.
Now, Jalen, in the spirit of giving and receiving, we, thought we'd have you play the role of Santa here and give out some gifts to NBA contenders. So what do the Lakers need for Christmas?
The Lakers just need health. That's it. They're clear-cut the best team in basketball. As long as they can stay healthy, no real breakout or issues with COVID, I feel like they not only will win this year's championship. Last year in the playoffs, the only time they went to 6 games was against the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. If they stay healthy, no team is even taking them to 6. How about that?
We love to hear it. So you talked about how tough the East is. One of the reasons the East is really tough is because the Nets got Kyrie and KD back. But what else does Brooklyn need if they want to be successful?
I just think they need KD to stay healthy. Like, he and Kyrie are going to be unstoppable weapons from all phases of the floor. Going in isolation situations, they're both clutch, and they enjoy playing with one another, which is why they wanted to team up in Brooklyn. They both have something to prove. One, that they can win a championship without LeBron and Kyrie, and the other one, that he can win a championship without the Golden State Warriors and KD. They have a lot of depth in Dinwiddie and LeVert and Allen giving them minutes down low. I really like this team. Harris giving them shooting. The only thing that probably will derail this team is that it's the first year of the run. And usually you need a couple of years to actually just get acclimated and fine-tune the team a little bit. But they're definitely in the conversation, and rightfully so.
Now, you said earlier this week it's finals or bust for the Sixers. So what are you getting to them in order for them to achieve this goal?
And see, this is why I say finals or bust for the Sixers and not the Nets. Because if the Nets get eliminated from the playoffs, they're not breaking up KD and Kyrie. But if the Sixers get eliminated from the playoffs, they're breaking up Embiid and Ben Simmons. And so for a squad that has watched the Toronto Raptors and the Miami Heat win the East, along with the Celtics, they had to watch it too. Along with the Bucks, they had to watch it too. It's do or die for those squads. And so it'll be interesting to see if adding Doc Rivers, Daryl Morey to make decisions in the front office, Seth Curry, who's a three-point shooter, if that's going to give them what they need in order to advance.
All right, Santa Jalen, thank you so much for joining us with your red suit.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate the love.
Here's a live look in at Boston and Brooklyn. Oh my goodness, it was just absolute sad. That was Tatum's for three. Katie, after that, got a dagger, but I mean, it just was not good.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
At all. 37 points for Kyrie. Katie chipped in 29, looking like he's back to his normal self.
Welcome back, guys. I don't know if you saw this video the other day, but oh wait, hold on. We're still in LA. We've got LeBron warming up. Lakers taking on the Mavs. It's going to be an exciting one, guys, but we've got a little more hoop streams to go, and let's take a look. Who do you think's going to win tonight? I'm gonna go Lakers.
Well, fun fact about LeBron. By the way, my mic went off, so sorry about that. But fun fact about LeBron, he needs 35 more points to be the league leading scorer on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
He'd be passing Kobe Bryant, which is a big deal. And guess what? Our friends are back. We got Perk and Amin joining us once again. And I think, Amin, you saw this video. I don't know if you saw this video, Perk, but some parents played some tricks on their kids. They thought they were getting a PS5. But I feel like people on TikTok are doing this thing where they like to put things in multiple boxes in order to get people really excited and thinking that it's one thing, but it's really something entirely different. Look at how hyped these kids are. They're not even, I mean, this is actually very extremely brutal because it is the box. Now look at this. Perk, would you ever do this to your kids?
That's not cool.
Did they even get a PS5?
Well, you know, I did something. I did do something to that nature. So my kids went overboard and spent a lot of money on my credit card. I don't know if you heard the story.
Oh, with the iPad.
But my wife and I played a trick on them. Yeah, my wife and I played a trick on them, and we went and got a PlayStation from a pawn shop. It was a cheap one, and when they got home from school, they saw it in the bottom of the pool, and they thought it was theirs, and they just broke down in tears. So I know how those kids feel about those PlayStations. Video games are real, okay?
Oh my goodness, Perk, that is absolutely brutal. I feel like if you were to do that, that's almost like something that a Grinch would do, or something that somebody that's on the naughty list would do. And we're gonna play a game called Christmas Naughty or Nice List. Amin, I'm gonna start with you on this one. Which NBA team deserves to be on the nice list for their off-season moves?
Oh, I think the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Like, they did all of these moves to try to secure Giannis Antetokounmpo to stay, and regardless if they didn't get their number one target in Bogdanovic, they ended up making the moves that made Giannis Antetokounmpo resign. And anytime you can get a two-time reigning MVP to say, I'm going to stay for about 4 or 5 more years, there's no better gift than that.
All right, Perk, how about you? Who else is on the nice list?
The Phoenix Suns. I thought the Phoenix Suns going out and get Chris Paul was a huge pickup for them. Chris Paul is about to put the key in Devin Booker back, and I strongly believe that Devin Booker probably could finish top 3, if not the number 1 scorer in the league this year, leading in scoring. And he's about to take DeAndre Ayton game to another level like he did for DeAndre Jordan when he was with the Clippers. So I'm looking at Chris Paul being with this team, a young team that got a lot of young stars, in my opinion. When you look at Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, those young studs that are coming up. Chris Paul is about to have them top 5 in the Western Conference, along with a hell of a coach and Coach Monty. So I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns, and they won. Great job.
All right, so based on your story about what you did to your kids, I'm going to call this thing the Perk gift. So, Amin, which team would you say got a Perk gift for their offseason moves?
Oh, it definitely was the Charlotte Hornets. They're the ones that got a box that said Max Player All-Star on the outside, but when they opened it up with it, but it's just Gordon Hayward. What are we doing here? Look, if you brought him in for veteran guidance and veteran leadership, that's cool. It shouldn't cost, $30+ million a year for a guy who has been habitually injured over the last 3 to 4 years. So to me, the Hornets, I just felt like it was a gross misallocation of assets to throw all that money to a guy who is really not going to impact wins and losses that much for you.
All right, keeping on with our gifting trend, Perkin and Mean, I'm going to ask you both this. What was your favorite gift for Christmas growing up?
My favorite gift was the Nintendo and Mike Tyson Punch-Out. That was the best gift I ever got as a kid. Tecmo Bowl, Mike Tyson Punch-Out. Y'all remember the old Nintendo, Super Nintendo that came with Mario Brothers? Classic.
I like Mario Kart.
That was a classic, Perk. That was a classic. My family, we're Muslim, so we don't celebrate Christmas, but I would just say everybody being healthy and happy and just everyone being together, families being together. That's the best gift that you can have. My heart goes out to the family of Casey Jones. I just learned watching the broadcast earlier today that he passed away, and that's got to be tough to have a family member pass on Christmas. So anyone, if you got family members around you and they're happy and they're healthy, give them a hug, man. That's the best gift you can get.
Amen.
Yeah, it's certainly been a rough Christmas, a rough year for a lot of people in 2020. So I'm glad that you guys were able to spend a little bit of your Christmas with us. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
All
right, so I know you guys may have seen that we have these beautiful gifts. If you look very closely, they have name tags on them.
Things are in them.
We're going to give these out to some people, and there's a reason for each of these. So we're going to start, I believe Kyrie is on the top of mine.
Yep.
All right, so inside of this box, this is our gift for Kyrie Irving. We have a globe because, so our producer, Cologne, actually came up with this, and I feel like, I didn't look this up, but I feel like Kyrie Irving has said that he now believes that the earth is round, but just in case he still doesn't believe that, here's an actual earth. This is what it looks like. I would love to give this to him. I don't think he talks to me because I'm in the media, but you never know.
You never know. And speaking, we've talked a lot about James Harden. He's looking for a new home, so we got him a Lego house. So hopefully he can build his new home.
I would like to also point out that that Lego house specifically is on the beach. And I feel like it's alluding to the fact that he could possibly be going to the Heat. That's an option. But however, don't make that happen. I'm a Heat fan. I'm not trying to be rude, but we don't want that drama. Next up, I like this one. Speaking of the Heat, wow, this is huge. I hadn't actually looked at this yet, but this is a coffee mug, and I actually want this, Cologne, so thank you, because it's my Christmas gift. But this is for Jimmy Butler because we know he had his coffee that he had going in the bubble, and I'm sure it's so good that you want to put this much coffee in it. So this is called, I think we're calling it a big ass coffee mug for Big Face Coffee.
All right, a minute. Okay, now this one is for Giannis. We've got a piggy bank because he has a lot that he needs to put into this piggy bank, so we might need a bigger piggy bank, folks.
No, I feel like all of his $228 million can fit right in that.
I think so. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Actually, it's like in the like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Just keeps reaching.
Just
That's
keep
what
going
this piggy bank is.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. So we talked about our favorite gifts that we got this year, or the gifts that we got. You got a blender. We asked Perkin on Mean like what their favorite gift growing up. Do you remember anything growing up?
Yes, I loved Playmobil. Did you ever play with Playmobil? It's like these little plastic figurines, and I remember my mom, I wanted just this small little house, and she got me like the big mansion. And I remember just like sitting there being like, you know when you get really excited, I feel like this still happens to me as an adult, where you get really excited, you don't know what to do with your hands. That's what happened. I was just like, gah!
Love it.
Yeah,
so,
what about you?
My parents like to tell me this story about Christmas that they asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said I wanted a balloon. And they were like, I think I said a balloon and a banana, and they were like, we can get her a bunch. Oh no, I said a balloon and a cupcake, and they were like, we can get her a bunch of balloons and a bunch of cupcakes, and she would be so happy, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Because that would be mean. Because Christmas, I mean, not that it's about that, but
I'll get you
I
a
just
balloon
didn't
and a
understand what's going on.
cupcake.
Anyways, we got Dallas Mavs versus the Los Angeles Lakers coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that live on ABC, ESPN, and the ESPN app presented by State Farm. Sorry, I just said that. It's just a habit to say that. This is Hoop Streets presented by State Farm as we get you ready for the Lakers versus the Mavs. Of course, if you're watching in the ESPN app, you can go in and authenticate right now to get ready for